Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, May 22nd, 2 p.m. Eastern. We have a lot to check in on. Let's get right into it. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the likes and the shares and the subscribes and all that stuff. So we've got the bulls keeping control in the broader market for now. This is the NASDAQ, still riding high. Plenty of space for a daily high or low to form next consolidation. And what's going on today is what I've been watching for over the last week or two, and it is rotation. So we've got rotation into the growth sector, which is bullish for all markets if that were to happen. And I'll talk about that in depth in the end of the day market video that we do all the time as usual. So check out the YouTube channel for in-depth talk about the rotation that's going on in the growth sector today. Riot is benefiting from that. So you look at Riot and you look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up 0.4, 0.5%. The NASDAQ is up 0.3%. How is Riot up 9%? Bitcoin's not doing it. The NASDAQ's not doing it. It's because of growth names, in my opinion. So I will talk about that in the video at the end of the day. But that's a good sign for the broader market bulls, the fact that Riot is hitting the highest level that we've seen. We're pretty much testing the high of May 11th. And if Bitcoin were testing the high of May 11th, we would be trading at 27.6 thousand. Not a huge difference, but 2% higher than where we stand right now. So some relative strength in the miners. We'll see if that continues. But why it would be bullish for everything if we see growth names rotate is because the growth names are the names that had the massive euphoria move up post-COVID. And then they had the 85% drawdown that is so familiar in the cryptocurrency space because that's normally part of the cycle that we see in crypto. Massive gains, 80% plus pullback. And we're seeing that in growth names. So we're now watching these growth names. Are they putting in longer term bottoms? And Coin is a good example of that. So Coin has been pulling back. This is the 1 month time frame. We've been pulling back for years. Well, yeah, 2 years. And it's basing out. It's trying to form an inverse head and shoulders on the monthly. And we've been basing out for over a year at this point. And so now the question is, does this basing out lead into a bull break? So, Bitcoin is not benefiting right now. So we can continue to say Bitcoin is not positioned well if the broader market sees any meaningful consolidation. And the headlines that you're going to keep hearing about have to do with the debt cycle, or I should say the debt talks between Democrats and Republicans. And it always goes down to the wire and it always gets raised. And so even just now today, we just had a headline where McCarthy says, we're not close to a deal. And so this is what the response to that is V-shape, because logically speaking, if the market is pricing in a 95% chance that a deal is going to be reached, every single dip on news that a deal is not going to be reached is a buy the dip scenario. But again, just keeping an eye out in markets, Bitcoin not majorly affected. It did see a volume spike on that 2-minute candle, but again, just aware of what the narrative is and what the headlines are in the broader market. But bottom line is the price on Bitcoin, as we know. And Bitcoin's just tightening sideways. And the simple statement for Bitcoin is, if we cannot get over daily EMA 12, the bears have nothing to worry about. Because we could just keep setting daily lower highs at this point. We've got a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And so that has to change. Right now I'm looking down at 26.3 and 25.8 as our supports. Bulls must break 27.3 for the first indication that something is shifting. And then after 27.3, we've got 27.5, 27.7. So we're getting tight. We know that volume and volatility are coming to Bitcoin here sooner rather than later when this tightening daily range breaks. I do favor the bulls a bit, and I favor the bulls because of the broader market strength and because of what I'm seeing the growth names do. Can definitely still break either way, but going to give the bulls a chance. You can see we had a move up today, gave it back. So I'm not on any time frame under the daily on Bitcoin. It's too choppy. There's not enough range to be worthwhile trading on the short-term time frames for Bitcoin right now. So I'm just sticking to the daily and nothing changes. Again, we want to simplify trading as much as possible. So I make these lines and I say, if neither of these levels are breaking, absolutely nothing is changing. Dominance chart for Bitcoin. Same deal. Weekly time frame. If we are in this range, nothing is changing. Here we are in this range. Nothing is changing. Let's move on. Look at how fast that technical analysis is. I just spent 4 seconds analyzing a chart. Granted, it's the dominance chart, but again, there are times where we can make it that simple. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to look at the Bitcoin chart, and if neither of these levels have broken, nothing is new, nothing to say, move on. ETH, also extremely sideways. Volume and volatility spike is coming this week. Look at this resistance here, 1830. We've rejected from that level pretty much 5 days in a row. So bulls need to break 1830 and 1848 if we are going to see a bull break. Keep in mind that when we break bull, if we break bull, let's rephrase that. If we break bull on Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm going to zoom out, and anything on Bitcoin under 31,000 is just a weekly lower high. So going to keep that in mind as well. Same thing for ETH. Any bull break on the daily, we zoom out and remind ourselves that anything under 2020 is just a weekly lower high. So we'll keep an eye on that key resistance on the longer term time frame. ETH BTC testing multiple month highs. Actually, no, just 1 month highs. So touching that level right now. Again, we care most about the weekly time frame, and anything under 709 is just a weekly lower high. But bulls would love to see continued grinding higher price action, which is what we have been seeing. So ETH testing resistance. Litecoin daily consolidation underway. Short-term support is 89.21. The bulls have absolute complete control if that level is maintained. If we break it, we're still going to look for a daily high or low, but the probabilities of a daily bull flag will decrease a bit. And Litecoin still has the bull narrative of the halvening. And so we zoom in. LTC BTC had a daily stair-step pattern with a higher low every single day for 13 days in a row. And that just broke bear. We're going to anticipate a daily high or low, but we need to make note, momentum is shifting a little bit while Litecoin is in daily consolidation. And we know bigger picture, what we care most about on Litecoin is the weekly equilibrium. We're not going to forget that anything under 103.42 is a weekly lower high. And it is entirely possible, even though this halving is looming, it is entirely possible that we set a weekly lower high and continue to tighten up for a good bit of June on this weekly chart. But as long as the weekly higher lows are intact on LTC, it remains a top watch for me as a potential lead bull. The dangling carrot of the headline is nice, of the halving, but you got to break this tightening range bullish to keep standing out as a bull. Pepe, so Pepe had the tightening daily range shape up, and unfortunately for bulls, we have not been able to break resistance. So we had our low of the pullback, high of the bounce, higher low. I think we talked about this in the last live stream, scouting that daily higher low, but we failed resistance. And if we drop down and break this level of, 14,745, we resume daily downtrend. And we look back to the 105 recent low. So this was a failed attempt at confirming a daily uptrend. And now we're testing support. So Pepe Bears keeping control as long as the daily lower highs remain intact. Our NDR is clearly standing out as our lead bull in the Metaverse 2.0 narrative. And June 5th is an important day for that narrative, because that is the date that Apple is supposedly coming out with their VR headset. And that was a part of the spike that we saw in these VR-related names last week. And most of the names gave back their move. Look at Mana. So Mana had a little pump and has been 5 days of pullback since. Sand, 3 days of pullback since. Was it AXS that was the other one? Yeah, 1 day pump, gave it all back. So there's no follow through behind this move, but What was the other one? Magic. Magic's another one. Sideways and giving it back. But RNDR had follow through. And it ended up being a cup and handle on the daily. Resistance. Fail to break resistance. Bull flag. Breakout. But once we had those stops trigger. So that candle tells us a lot of longs triggered in on a resistance break and a lot of shorts triggered to cover their position on that resistance break. And once that happened, there was nobody left to buy. And so we just faded and gave that move back and dropped something like 17% in a couple of hours. So now on RNDR, is that it? Have we lost the momentum? Potentially, but bulls are attempting to put up a fight here. Again, just viewing this as the high, low, lower high, trying to form the higher low compared to 233, and we would need the break of 252 to resume a 4-hour uptrend. And then from there, we would zoom out and scout a 12-hour lower high to be the likely result of a bull break if we do get one on that 4-hour time frame. So it's not game over, but bulls definitely have to be a lot more cautious with the size of that upper wick. Last one to keep an eye on, that I've been keeping an eye on, is Atom for the potential of this falling wedge. And we're heading back down towards support. And so the only thing that's going to have me interested in Atom is if we break 1014 with no follow through to keep that falling wedge type of price action in play. Because we're looking for an Atom 1 month higher low. But bears have taken back over since the failed daily uptrend attempt. Higher low, fail resistance, all bears since then. So still keeping an eye on it, but not looking for any entries at this point. Honestly, just watching it more out of curiosity to see how this ends up playing out. Maybe eventually I'll see a spot that I like for good risk reward for an attempt at a bullish position, but not currently. So overall, Bitcoin bulls have proving to do. They are not positioned well if the broader market sees any consolidation, any meaningful consolidation, but we're anticipating that names like BTC and ETH are going to see a volume and volatility spike this week because you can't get much tighter than this daily chart has gotten over the last week and a half. And ETH specifically, very sideways and tight. All right, take a look at ACH, sure thing. ACH daily higher low trying to be set. So the first thing I want to know is, have we confirmed a 4-hour uptrend? No. So that has to happen. If I'm going to trust that daily higher low can break 294 and confirm a daily uptrend, I want to see a 4-hour uptrend confirmed. So we've got space for a 4-hour higher low next consolidation, and we then need to confirm that uptrend. Are we shaping up for 4-hour consolidation? Let's zoom in again. Do we have a 15-minute bearish pattern forming? Looks to me like a potential head and shoulders. So if this ends up being a 15-minute head and shoulders that confirms the downtrend, 4-hour consolidation will be underway, and we'll scout a 4-hour higher low. See how I just did that? From one time frame on down, I know what the daily looks like. Okay, what does the 4-hour look like? Have we confirmed the trend change there? No, not yet. We've got to consolidate for the 4-hour higher low to form. What do we look for the 4-hour consolidation to shape up? We zoom in. 15-minute time frame gives us that indication. It's just the relationship of all these different time frames. And Jungle Funk Joey, chart guy Jungle Funk Joey, did a webinar about that, and he's doing a follow-up webinar, essentially part 2, later this week. And I'll talk about that with links in a couple days. But keep an eye out for it. I believe it's going to be Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. But essentially everything to do with anticipating most likely scenarios. With price action, last webinar was price action trends and how time frames interrelate. And now he's going to be looking at retracement sizes and determining most likely scenarios. Essentially just adding more details to the base understanding that he went over in the last live stream. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of good feedback on it. So I would suggest checking that out on our YouTube channel. Gotta see exactly where it is. I'll share the link with you all. And then keeping an eye out for part 2. how to utilize different time frames on our lessons and more playlist. Just posted the link. How do I feel about MARA breaking below the 50-day? I personally don't care at all about the 50-day. For me, if MARA is holding 852, the weekly chart is holding on just fine. Lose 852, and it's a notable shift. But if you hold 852 and just trade sideways, you can definitely be building up pressure for the next leg up. So for me, it's all about 852. That's the level I care about. INJUSDT, are we setting a monthly higher low? Nope, because we haven't started monthly consolidation. It's just a monthly inside bar. So we're extremely likely to form a monthly inside bar, and then that would need to break bearish for monthly consolidation to be underway. Daily is looking for a higher low. As far as I'm concerned, we have not confirmed a daily uptrend yet. I'm viewing this all as the same move. We've got to set that higher low and higher high. Then we zoom out and watch weekly for anything under 997 to just be a weekly lower high. One time frame at a time. Near. Weekly stair step drop, lower high every week for over a month. Zooming in, the only way bulls are going to shift momentum is holding 154 and breaking 172. This is one where I would just use the 2-day time frame, condense it down a little bit if that makes it more clear for you. If not, daily is fine. Bears have absolute control as long as 172 is resistance. Same thing as Bitcoin. If daily EMA 12 is resistance, what do bears have to worry about? Not a thing. Just put yourself in a bear scenario. Rejection, 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 rejection. If we can't get over it, we are not going anywhere to the upside. When we get over it, something has shifted. XRP. Looking for a daily higher low. Lots of space for it to form. Not going to forget that anything under 546 is just a weekly lower high. So for me, a weekly lower high is the more likely result of this bounce, unless there's some kind of news catalyst. But that doesn't mean we can't keep the bounce going. There's a lot of resistance in the 4/8s, the mid 4/8s. Top, top, top. All these tops here. So if we do confirm a daily continuation move, that's a key resistance zone to be watching. If we're going to set a daily higher low, what do we need? We need a 4-hour uptrend to confirm to the bulls. Trying to shape up the higher low now. Got to break 467 to confirm the 4-hour uptrend and set the daily higher low. Bulls would love to backtest and hold the EMA support. When you have an EMA or a level act as resistance this frequently, it's a great sign when you backtest it and hold it as support. If I zoom into the 15-minute for the 4-hour, would I look at the 30-minute for the daily? No. For me, if something trades 24 hours, I look at the 4-hour for the daily. If it only trades stock market hours, I look for the hourly as the daily. Let's go to Twitter. I'm just going to all our different resources that we got, whether it's YouTube or Twitter. So Twitter, I removed the pinned tweet. I'll have to add it back. Well, it's not there. We've got PDFs describing the time frame relationships that the different time frames relate to each other. So 15-minute for 4-hour, 5-minute for hourly, 2-minute for 15-minute, etc. So I will repin that on our Twitter later this week. But that's an aspect of the webinar that I just talked about. Joey did up a PDF of that concept. Why not the 1 hour? Sometimes the 1 hour is more clear, but generally it's the 15-minute. It's just the way it is. It also depends on, what you find in terms of personal preference, but I find much more clarity on the 15-minute for the 4-hour. What's a good stop loss? It depends on every single different trade. If I'm buying resistance, I am setting a resistance break. I'm setting a stop loss close by. This is a trade I took today, just a day trade, PACW Regional Bank. And there was a wall of resistance at 638. Why did 638 stand out? Because we topped out here and then 634 right under it. And there was one more, but there was enough resistance at 638 where it said to me, if we break 638, we may get this momentum going. And so I bought at 638. And look at where I bought. I had bought after 40 minutes of upside. Just straight 5-minute stair step. That looks like I'm chasing. The reason I bought is I know there's a lot of shorts on this name, and I know that it can get spicy in terms of price action and volatility. And so what I did is I market buy 638. I sell half right away at 642. And now my break even is 634. And I set my stop at 634 so I cannot lose. And I said, all right, let's see. Go for it, bulls. And it worked out very nicely. Plenty of follow through. Let's see, I did another one today. Boyle, I was trying to play a natural gas oversold bounce. I bought at 321. Little bit of a bounce. I got to protect against that being a bear flag. I sell a third of my position at 326. My break even is now 319, and I stuck my stop loss at 319. Break even, zero risk. I stopped out. Didn't lose a dollar. Didn't miss anything. On to the next trade. So I love getting risk free. I love selling a partial position and getting risk free to not have to worry about anything. So in your example, if you bought Litecoin at 90 and it went up to 91, you can sell half and have a risk-free stop at 89. And 89.21 is a support level. And if 89.21 breaks, that tells us we may be shaping up for weekly consolidation. It's still a bit early, but that at least tells us further daily consolidation is coming. So that allows you to use a support level to be risk-free. If we see continuation, you win. If we don't, you don't lose. I just love being in that scenario. What sign am I looking for an entry into Bitcoin? So for me personally, something that tells me Bitcoin is going to give me more opportunity than all the other markets. And that has not been the case for a very, very long time. So I don't foresee a time where I'm going to be looking to enter Bitcoin anytime soon. And the reason is, again, Riot is up 9% today. Bitcoin's up 0.4%. The volume in Riot is $200 million traded. The volume of Bitcoin on Coinbase, I can't do that math right now. I don't know. But I know that Riot has plenty of volume, no fees. So again, you just have to keep in mind that just imagine me as one individual professional trader. And if that is my mindset, that is the mindset of tens of thousands of other traders. I'm just going to trade stocks fee-free with more volatility. I don't have interest in trading Bitcoin right now. If I were forced to trade only Bitcoin, I would probably be looking for, if we were to break 27.3, I might use that as a bull entry, buying a resistance break, and then selling half. You know, if I buy at 27.3 and we get up to 27.6 and I sell half, then I can put my stop under 27 risk-free. But at this point, we're too weak in Bitcoin for me to have any interest looking long. Like I mentioned, I do think that we're more likely to break bull than bear. But, you know, a bull break on Bitcoin, we go up a few percent. I just don't care about a few percent. It's just not worth it to me. So we will see significant volume and volatility return to crypto when it starts providing trading opportunities that are not present in other markets. And that may be a long time before that happens. Yeah, the frame is larger than it usually is. You can use your imagination on what the chart looks like. It's really just a bunch of black and some volume bars. All right, I'm not going to talk about stocks here. Again, I talk about stocks all day, every day. I've been talking about stocks literally for the last 8 hours. More than 8 hours in our chat room. I live stream about stocks for an hour and a half this morning. I'm going to talk about stocks when the market closes in the video. As soon as I'm done this live stream, I'm going to go talk about stocks. I'm going to live stream at 3:15 p.m. to talk about stocks. So if you want to talk about stocks, come on into the chat room. All right. Two more, Sol and Dot, and then I got to bounce. Sol is a lead bear. Why can I say it's a lead bear? Because every crypto chart that I just looked at has not broken to a lower low yet, and Sol has. Could Sol be a falling wedge? Absolutely, that is a possibility. So it's worth drawing these lines as a visual guide to keep an eye on, but the burden's on bulls to prove something to us. So the only time I'm buying falling wedges are when they align with the most likely scenario on a longer term time frame. If this were a daily falling wedge looking for a monthly higher low, and you could say that it is, we're looking for a higher low compared to $16 for a continued tightening range. Let's go to the 2 week. 2 week time frame is an equilibrium. Low, high, higher, low, lower, high, and we're looking for a higher low compared to 16. That makes me more interested watching for Sol to potentially be a daily falling wedge. But what do we need? We need Sol BTC to show us something is shifting. And right now, it's all bears for the last week and a half. So worth keeping an eye on it for Sol to try and be a falling wedge, but remain skeptical. If I look at a chart and we're in a downtrend on a bunch of time frames, the burden is on bulls, and I remain skeptical of bulls. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Make them prove it to you. Make them earn your money. Dot. Sideways. Nothing going on. I care about 511. I care about 522. As far as resistance, I care about 547 and 552. If none of these levels are breaking, absolutely nothing is changing. And we are fairly close to being smack dab in the middle of that sideways range. Do we have a group only for crypto in the chat room? No, we have a group. I mean, we have crypto chat rooms, but that would mean you want to be able to go into beginners questions. You want to be able to go into mindset. You want to be able to go into investing in dividends if you want to broaden your horizons. You want to be able to go into all the different things about the markets. Again, I cannot stress enough how much I have learned in this chat room. If you ask me, are you going to put money in treasury bills? If you ask me that question at any point between 2010 to 2021, I would say, no, I don't know anything about them. And now I have significant capital playing around in treasury bills this year. Because I learned from someone else who has more experience than me in that aspect of financial markets. And you might not be ready to branch out into other places, but eventually you will be. All right. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks again for the likes and the shares. Next time we check in, I anticipate that we will have clear breaks on the daily time frame by Wednesday. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Do good things.